Hello everyone and welcome back to another Super Rugby podcast and the last of the World Cup specials.
With your host, Tony Harris.
I hadn't even finished.
And
go on, you just say it, mate.
Damien Warren. I tell you what, that's like the third week in a row.
That you have said it rather than me.
Yeah.
You just always, I think you're getting a bit too big for your boots, eh?
That's why we're getting so many listeners.
This is a World Cup special, and we've been asked this by numerous supporters to dissect not how South Africa.
We have supporters.
Not how South Africa won the World Cup, how England lost the World Cup. So we're going to go over that.
It's on a lot
now.
of people's minds, isn't it? To be fair,
well,
it's on my one, but I know how they lost it because
Yeah.
they're not very good. But anyway,
so this is a special of the specials of all the specials put together. And it's a short one, mate. Please, if you're watching this on YouTube, you've come to the right place. If you're listening to us on
YouTube on here, you haven't even got the symbol on there, man. Your village, eh?
If you're listening to us on the podcast,
excuse me, tech crew.
Some of this you'll miss out because we've got a little PowerPoint presentation.
Yes.
So, what have you done for the PowerPoint, mate?
I've turned up.
Anyway, first up. So, is it going to work? Work. There we go. There we go.
Hey, we need to plug ourselves first.
You go plug. You go plug.
I'll go plug.
You go plug.
Okay, so on Facebook, the Super Rugby Podcast.
On Gmail, superrugbypodcast@gmail.com.
Twitter, the Super Rugby Pod.
Super Rugby Pod, @Super Rugby Pod.
@SuperRugbyPod. Make sure you listen in. You subscribe, give us good reviews. You know, we're especially one person over here, Damien, is very good looking. He's now a vegan, which is very, very interesting. We won't go there right now, but let's play on.
Let's play on. So first up, the bus was late, Tobes.
The bus was
and
late.
People are saying that the reason why England lost the World Cup final was because the bus was late.
I thought that as well. But then I came to my senses and thought absolute rubbish of England. You've come up with a really good point. Actually, you've heard rumours.
I've heard rumours. No rumours here. Apparently, Eddie Jones, knowing that in Japan traffic was going to be an issue, when they turned up to play Ireland in the Six Nations competition, again, they knew they had to win it. They purposely turned up late for that game. So that
that's
they would.
Interesting, isn't it? That's smart, really.
Smart. So he knew that it was going to be an issue. Arguably, if you know it's going to be an issue, why not just leave a bit earlier?
Yeah.
Google Maps. But anyway, the bus being late was not the reason why they lost.
No.
Next up, they played their final against New Zealand.
Now, I'd have to agree with this. I would have to agree with this. But I did say before this match, I said whoever wins the New Zealand-England match will go on to win the Rugby World Cup.
And you were wrong.
I was very wrong. I was very wrong.
So the reason why I'm going to disagree, and I'm going to say it wasn't an issue, was because when they won that game, England, they had very muted response to it. They weren't celebrating. They didn't get over sort of excited.
Well, they moved on to the next match, didn't they?
Business as usual.
Yeah.
Business as usual. Now, arguably, they also played a day earlier than South Africa. So South Africa had a day less to recover.
Yeah.
That's massive. That's massive. A day less to recover, 24 hours.
From battering each other.
Each other. And they only won in the last minutes of the game, as in, the Welsh-South African game.
Yeah, that's
So it was
true.
a much more tougher, more physical game.
Yeah.
So, they played great rugby, but you can't say they played their final out there because they had an extra day to recover. They'd planned for it. Eddie Jones has been talking about winning the World Cup, not coming second.
Yeah, true. He
So,
said it from the start, though, hasn't he?
Next up, mate. People are coming
when
out.
When I first saw that, I was like, coffee? They're making coffee?
Juicing.
Juicing,
mate. So South Africa team have been juicing. So we have heard some stories about...
We have, but they did get pinged for it before the World Cup, didn't they?
Yeah, and apparently during the World Cup, you're heavily tested.
Yeah, of course.
So if anyone else is being juicing, then it would have been brought up by now. And also, I just think it's a bit of sour grapes. Do you like that, mate? Juicing,
but
sour grapes.
Really
if you don't know what juicing
grapes.
is, people might know not.
But you don't really juice grapes.
Well, mate,
you make wine, mate. You make wine.
But people might know what juicing is. So we're talking about taking steroids or banned substances.
Yes, sorry, yeah.
But no, not an issue because they get tested a lot. Shooting up in vain. Next up, mate. The South Africans are bigger and stronger than England. They're more physically dominating.
Now, I would say the same, but I've got a stat here. 20 kgs heavier in the front row.
Not in the front row, mate. In the forward pack.
That's what I said.
So 900 kgs. This is amazing, isn't it? 900 kgs for South Africa.
For 8 people.
Right? 920 kgs for
England.
That's
ridiculous.
They've eaten some serious beef burgers or vegan burgers.
Loads of sushi, mate.
Loads of sushi.
But you can't have that if you're a vegan.
Maybe it was because England were fatter. That's why they lost. Because they were fatter than South Africa. What do you reckon?
Too many pies.
Another one, it's not on here, mate, but Sinclair going down early.
Yeah, they have said that. They lost it in the first 2 minutes.
Yeah, I'm going to say no.
I'm going to say no too.
Because Dane Cole.
Quality. Is he a 90-minute player? 80-minute player, sorry?
Don't get me wrong. It had an impact on the game.
Yeah.
Had an impact on the game, but he's a better scrummager than Kyle. So therefore...
Oh, you're on first name basis.
Yeah, mate.
G'day, Kyle.
I'd rang him up before. Yeah, right. I'm going to call you Kyle. Mr. So I don't think it had an impact. I don't get me wrong. I do think it had an impact on the game.
Yes.
But I don't think it's the reason why they lost.
No, I agree.
We're getting close to the reason why they lost, in our opinion. But up next, one more. Oh, 2 more. The referee.
The referee wasn't great for both teams, though, was he?
Jerome.
It wasn't one-sided.
No, and I think people were quite tough on him to say that he gave away lots of penalties at scrum time. But they also, if you watch the game, and you really watch the game, and you're a neutral like me and you,
yes,
you would have also picked up that he did reset quite a few scrums.
They did.
So, he was, if he wasn't guessing, I don't think he was guessing. I think he...
No, but you can't always blame him. If he's on the other side and the scrum goes down on the opposite side to him, he's relying on the touch judge, isn't he?
Or the touchy. I think some referees, they don't know what's going on in the front row. But I actually think one of his strengths is that he does. I think he genuinely does know what he's going. Look at him. He is a prop row, isn't he? Prop forward, mate. Look at him. Just look at him.
Spit it out, mate. Just spit it out, eh? We've got one more?
One more, mate. Matchups.
Oh.
South Africa had the better team than England, people are saying.
Yes. No.
Well, let's just take away the final. Okay, so England didn't play very well in the final, as we know. South Africa played fantastically in the final. Was that the reason? Why? If we look at the teams. Let's look at the teams now. So there's not many going before the final. There's not many of that team and the England team that I would have swapped for South African players. Now, there are some.
Colby for Johnny May.
Yeah, definitely. But you definitely have Tuolangi. You definitely would have had Ford.
Yes.
100% would have had Ford. You would have had Ben... Faf de Klerk, quality player. Ben Youngs in this tournament had been absolutely
great kicking
superb.
Game. Kicking game wasn't great against New Zealand.
No.
But then kicking game was very good in the final.
Big Billy, Vermeulen was amazing in the final.
Did he get player of the final?
Oh, yeah, I think he did. Yeah. And Steph Tutoy, yes.
Quality.
You'd say over Sam.
Yeah.
But I think where I would agree was I don't think England's bench was anywhere near as good as South Africa's bench. Nowhere near as good. You look at the quality they've got at Malcolm Marx.
Oh, you'd have him in
Stephen
any team.
Kitsoff.
Yeah.
You'd also go and say, look, this
Francois Lowe,
quality player. Yankees, not the best, but...
No, but he's young and he's pretty whippy and snappy.
But Steyn. Massive boot, eh? So you bring him on for those tight
size
games.
54, something like that.
I think he's kicked over 60 metres.
Yeah, of course.
In a game. So let's get to the real reasons why we think that England actually lost. First one, the Eddie Jones effect.
Steady Eddie.
Eddie's been amazing. He's driven the England team all the way near to the final.
Yeah.
But...
he did drive them to the final. Just didn't win it.
Yeah, he didn't win it. The problem with Eddie is he is a little bit arrogant. Okay? And I think his game plans, he's very stringent in his game plans. So he's got game plan number or letter A. He doesn't often have game plan B, C, because he backs himself to his game plans.
And to be fair, they've done pretty well on that.
Yeah, they have. The problem came where I think he felt that he could beat South Africa up. I think he could match them toe-to-toe.
But you look back and you could go, yeah, I agree with him. But then on the day, it
just didn't work.
No, not at all.
And then England didn't have game plan B or C or D. And I think South Africa possibly wouldn't have had game plan B, C or D either, but their game plan A was big enough. And it worked. They physically...
So they didn't need B or C.
Yeah. They got over the game line. They got the ball down in their own 22, their opposition's 22. They got the penalties. They kicked the goals. And we always say, don't we, even in Super Rugby, if a South African team gets a lead...
Yeah, it's so hard to catch them.
Real hard to catch them, isn't it?
And it was the same.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, next up. Their game plan was spot on, wasn't it? Do you know, before the game started, Rassie had made the decision he was going to play 40-minute front rows. So those front rows, the beast, yeah, they knew that they just had to go hammer and correct, and they knew that they were going to replace the whole front row after 40 minutes. Now, England with Sinclair going down, you know, Dane Cole knew he had to play the whole game.
Yeah, hard.
And he was thinking that when you think he's warmed up, but he's thinking, I'm not going to get on here for 60 minutes. And then boom, you're on. He's gone into that scrum not mentally ready, and he's been absolutely boomed. He's been boomed.
Done like a dog's dinner, mate.
Yeah. Their game plan was to dominate England in the scrums. We're going to go at them for 40 minutes, but then we're going to swap out. So you boys, hammer and tongs.
Yeah.
And the quality they had coming off the bench was exceptional.
Was quality.
Exceptional.
Yeah.
Next up, mate. Better goal kicker, Pollard. Better big time positional fly half. Our positional fly half, or England's positional, than Owen Farrell. Owen Farrell's playing at 12.
Yes.
George Ford's playing at 10. George Ford's fantastic attacking fly half.
Yeah.
But his game management isn't anywhere near as good as Pollard's game management. And there it goes. Farrell was playing at 12. And I'm not a big fan of Farrell playing at 10.
No,
but in a tight match like this, possibly they made the wrong call putting Ford out there and leaving him out there for the prolonged period of time that they did.
Yeah, maybe.
They showed their cards real early. If Ford had been coming off the bench, possibly that would have given them the impact they needed to change the game up when it happened. But him going onto the bench was a real problem in this game. England are babies, mate. There's only 2 players who possibly won't make the next World Cup.
Well, Coles is one of them.
Yeah. And
Tuilangi?
No, Tuilangi's fine.
Okay.
Second row player, Tool.
Courtney Laws.
Courtney Laws. Those are the only 2 that really, when you look at their numbers, aren't going to
potentially make.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's interesting.
Good
even though
England,
they're really
isn't it?
young, they had more caps than South Africa.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, amazing, isn't it?
Wow.
I think a lot of that comes from South Africa players often.
The back line of South Africa's very young in caps, aren't they?
Very young in caps. And also a lot of those players play overseas for 3 years, come back for the World Cup.
Yeah.
So that's very interesting as well. Something maybe a lot of the other teams might have to start thinking about doing. New Zealand, maybe.
Really?
Even. Yeah, I think so, yeah.
I like that they've kept it pure.
I love how they kept it pure, but it's something that maybe if you've played a certain number of test matches, maybe you could be...
Yeah, that's what South Africa have done, haven't they?
Yeah, absolutely. they had more big-time players. We're going to go back and look at this, but they had some big-time players. Willie LaRue had been rubbish all World Cup. He had dropped 15 balls in the World Cup. He didn't drop one in the final.
No, he was quality, wasn't he?
Etzebeth, big-time player. Malcolm Marks, big-time player.
Yeah.
The Beast. The Beast has been in hibernation for 4 years. In fact, he's been in hibernation for 10 years. When they played the Lions, when he was real young, 10 years ago, he'd done over the Lions prop. No one had ever seen anyone. That's where he got his name from, the Beast, at that point. He's been good every test match since.
Yeah.
But he was absolutely amazing in that final. And it doesn't stop there. Pollard's a big-time player. I mean, Farrell's a big-time player.
Yeah.
But there's just not enough of them yet for England. And we're going to look at that team.
Can I just say, Eddie Jones looks young there, eh?
That's because I've gone labelled for reuse copyright.
Oh, really?
That's all that came up for Eddie Jones. And they had no luck. Against New Zealand, England had so much. The bounce of the ball went their way. I'm not saying that they were lucky to win. They weren't lucky to win. They thoroughly deserved their win.
They had the rub of the green.
But they definitely had the rub of the green. And they didn't have any rub of the green on the in the final. But South Africa did. They had all the rub of the green. Everything went their way. Game plan went perfectly.
Yeah.
It could have very easily gone in the other direction, but it didn't for them. So let's have a look at those teams again. You look at the big-time players that they've got. The Beast.
Etzebeth.
You've got to say Steph Totoy, Vermeulen.
Yeah.
I mean, he's an absolute.
I tell you what, Faf de Klerk
yeah.
is a good big-time player, isn't he?
Absolutely. And then Willie LaRue.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And then off the bench, look at that quality coming off the bench.
The try in the final by Colby.
Or the Colby try.
Try.
Yeah.
Just Owen Farrell had nothing.
We enjoyed that.
Flung out his arm. It was too little too late anyway, but
yeah, I did feel a little bit sorry for Farrell on that. He'd been kind of sewn up the river by his inside men. going, go on, you take him, you take him.
Yeah, but surely you'd show him the sideline.
You wouldn't show him the side. Would you show him the side? There's no way I would be showing Colby the sideline.
I would rather get beaten on the outside than get stepped on the inside.
Yeah, no, definitely. But you got to remember it. You wouldn't want to do either. So
plus hindsight is a very good thing.
So you sit there and you go, I'd show him the outside. He'd take it and beat you.
Run at me.
Mind you, you're a lot quicker than most of us. So, but yeah, I mean, and what a tough guy to mark. And it just showed he had no space.
Although Anthony Watson, tough guy to mark.
Oh yeah,
they shut him out the game, didn't they?
They just shut him out. I mean, you just look. None of these guys. Elliot Daly didn't have a great game. No. Tuolangi hardly got the ball.
May didn't have much.
Farrell struggled.
Yeah.
Ford definitely struggled. But I mean, it's hard to be Ford and Farrell when you've got a Ford pack going nowhere.
Yes. When you've got no good ball.
And the other thing you got to remember is South Africa were amazing at the breakdown. They turned over far more ball than South Africa. And that was another area. You know, you think their line-out was better. Their scrum was just a little bit better. And their breakdown was absolutely phenomenal. Yeah. And their positioning, their game plan, it was a little bit like England was so much better than New Zealand in every area. Well, unfortunately, the Springboks were. But we're going to get to the real point.
Yes.
The real reason why I think England lost. There's two things for me that were a big, big difference. First one is defensive line, okay? So you look at who they played in their road to the final. England played Tonga, not known for their fast defence. Argentina, not known for their defence.
USA?
USA,
sorry,
mate.
are not. No, they're not.
They didn't play France.
You've spelled Argentina wrong as well,
mate. Thanks for pointing that out. Thanks for pointing that out. France didn't even play them. All right,
no,
they played Australia, not known for their fast defence. New Zealand have a very soft defence, and then they hit South Africa. They've gone 6 weeks not playing quick defence, up in your face, pressure, and they get hit blindsided.
Is that where we went wrong as well?
I think we've really known it's a weakness of ours, and we've really tried to go about fixing it. I think we actually pretty much did fix it until the England game. And then I don't know what we were doing. Then you go South Africa, they played New Zealand, they lost, of course. Does that mean that we were world champs? Yes, it does. Namibia, Italy, Canada, Japan, Wales. You'd have to say they had a slightly easier run into that final.
I'd say so as well.
Yeah. So, you look at that and you say the defensive line. Now, normally England would be comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Because they're playing Wales, Ireland, quick line defence. But they haven't done it for 6 weeks.
No.
And then bang.
Yeah.
World Cup final.
In your face.
Pressure on.
Yeah.
In your face. And they were really, really up quick. Like, they were up quicker than anyone else I'd seen.
They were up quicker than England.
Up quicker than England, yeah. The Mandela effect. So 1995, South Africa won the World Cup. Arguably facing an even stronger team in the All Blacks at the time than maybe South Africa were facing
Greatest
England.
ever All Black team?
Possibly the greatest ever All Black team. But they won it because they were playing for more than just themselves.
Yeah. They were playing for a nation and that bloke there, weren't they? And
I'd probably say what Rassie Erasmus did and what he said about pressure was absolutely phenomenal. If you haven't heard this, unbelievable. He said, I'm not worried about pressure. Pressure is about losing a family member to murder.
Yeah.
It's about not having a job. It's about not having enough food on the table. That's pressure. Playing rugby is an honour.
Yeah.
And it's an opportunity to give hope. And so those players went out there on that Saturday and they were playing not for themselves as a team.
Yeah.
They were playing for a nation. That is pretty hard to stop.
Yeah, it is.
Pretty hard to stop. Every single opportunity they had, they were thinking, I'm going to take this not just for me, but for my family and for our, unfortunately, you would say, and they've said it, their broken country at the moment, trying to bring it back together.
Yeah. To be fair, England had the nation in the stadium.
They did, yeah.
There were so many white shirts there, eh?
But it didn't matter, mate.
No, it didn't.
Didn't matter. There was actually, to be fair, there's a lot of South African shirts there as well. But yeah, definitely more English shirts than South African shirts. That's it, mate.
That was short and sharp, wasn't it?
Short, sharp. Maybe we should do these more.
Little snack.
So up next, next week, we are going to do a little quick one to do our 5,000/10,000 download special where you send in some questions about us, what we are like, what we do. We're going to tell you all the secrets to the Super Rugby podcast. No secrets there anyway. But until next week,
yes,
it's been an absolute pleasure as always.
Yep, as always.
Do you want to press?
Oh, yeah. Is it number 3?
Number 1, mate. Number 1.
Number 1.
I thought you would have learned by now.
Over and out.